You should get a whole
You.
stone holder.
You coming home from work?
Huh?
Are you coming home from work?
I just got off. Well, I just got home and I have to go drop Honesty off at her friend's house.
Where's she at? Hi, she's so cute.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm dropping her off at her friend's house and then going back home.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so for everybody who don't know, this is Wit Teedy, and this is my friend Tila. And so I'm not quite sure um, what time Jensen's going to be able to join us, but I have a friend who happens to be,
Oh, yeah, 3.
trans, and he is supposed to join us tonight.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he can come up because he has to work, but so before we start that subject though, so you're the one that showed me that the teacher got fired.
Yeah.
Do you think he should have got
Mm-hmm.
fired?
I don't think well, I'm the only one that was totally against it. But I don't necessarily know that he should have got I don't necessarily know that if I agree with him getting fired, he should have been reprimanded. But him getting fired, I feel like he brought that on himself. Because as a teacher, as a black male teacher, he knows there's things you just can't, you have to be very cautious of. So
Yes.
I feel like, him getting fired, I don't necessarily know if he should have, but him getting fired, he brought it on himself.
I agree to an extent because we teach our kids and we've been taught ourselves that actions have consequences, whether they're natural consequences or consequences someone else puts on you. Do I think he should have gotten fired? Of course I don't. I don't at all. I think that we have become a society of people who over sexualize everything. And I'm saying that because, well, look, first let me say this. For people who don't know, we're talking about the teacher who allowed his female students to unbraid his hair. I think we over sexualize everything. I think that I understand, I could understand more of him being fired if the students had been younger, but they weren't.
How old were they?
They're between middle school and let's say they're between middle school and high school age, I believe. But a lot of girls are doing hair at this age and getting paid.
Right, but not in school. And not in school and sitting back getting videoed doing it.
The only thing that I can,
I mean, if
hold
he
on,
was
Derek, I'm not
still, if he
sure.
needed his hair taken down in a rush and he didn't have time to do it, if he talked to these girls' parents, singled out 2 or 3 girls, talked to their parents, and their parents were okay with it, then
Hey,
okay.
hey,
But
Derek, go out and come right back in because I've invited you. So go out and come back in, and I'll invite you again. Um, I watch a lot of YouTubes. I watch, and one of them in particular happens to be an educator. She's a teacher, and I think she teaches eighth
oh, wait,
grade. And what?
I had something to add to that. So I
Go
just
ahead.
want to be clear that I'm saying if he talked to some girls' parents and they were okay with it and they did it at his home, their home, with the parent, if the parents wanted to be there or if the parents didn't, if the parents were okay without being there, but not at school.
Why not at school? Let people know why you feel not at school.
I feel not at school because there's a time and a place for everything. There's a time and a place for everything. Okay, so like I'm one of those women that is totally against bonnets being worn in public. I mean, black people get criticized enough. Don't make yourself look crazier than what they think you already are to be talking about you. So to me, bonnet wearing in public is not acceptable, and take unbraiding hair and braiding a teacher's hair in school is not acceptable, because again, I feel like that's just one of those things where white people are sitting back. Look at these dumb black people. Look at this dumb teacher. He's sitting there in class letting these kids unbraid his hair. That's how I feel it was perceived by a lot of people. And like I said, there's a time and a place for things. And school is not, you know what your hair looks like when you unbraid it.
Okay.
It's a hot mess. I mean, it's a mess. It's dirty. You got stuff all in it. And then no, it's just not something you need to do at a public place, especially school.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it should be done in a public place, period.
From a person who's
I get
had their
so
hair.
annoyed when I see, I've been to like school basketball games and seen.
Okay, go ahead and finish.
um I was saying that, I just don't think certain things should be done in public, period. And hair braiding, getting your hair braided or getting your hair taken down, I just don't think that should be done in public, any public place.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this because I'm a person who has had my hair done at my job, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when I was working in St. Joe, and she also did it in the park because you know I live in Cameron, and she lives somewhere else, and so we were going to work. So before we went, we did it in the park as well. There a long time. I have felt like you about a lot of things for a long time. Like, I don't think we should do certain things to make people look at us as Black people any different. So we basically kind of conformed or into society. Like, we basically joined in, and that has led some of us, not all of us, not to be our authentic selves. So I got my hair locked before my mom passed, and if, if you had a like probably 6, 8 months, maybe even 6, 8 years before I got it locked, if you had said, "Oh, get your hair locked," I wanted locks, but I wouldn't have gotten them
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want nobody to look at my hair differently.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, yeah, there are things that we do in our own culture that kind of gets on my nerves as well. Like, I don't, but it seems to be trendy more than cultural now. For instance, I don't like baggy pants. I think if your
Mm-hmm.
pants is hanging off your behind, I had a foster kid once, and his pants was always hanging down. I just jerk them down. You want them down by your knees and put, or your ankles, and put them down there. There's no point walking around. Nobody wants to see your butt. So
Right.
around me, he would keep his pants pulled up. There are certain things, like I said, in our culture that we do that are not just trends, but that we do that can be quite embarrassing. However, I am learning this. For me to be my authentic self, I have to be my authentic self, period. Will I wear a bonnet outside my house? I have. I'm not gonna lie. Don't you see me? Don't you see me tealing it, snatch it off? But yeah, I
I'm
have.
a pull a Monique on you. Yes, I will.
I have, worn my bonnet outside the house. Um, I don't do it often. Sometimes I forget. I wear it so often because my hair is longer now, and I wear it so often. Sometimes I forget it's there. Like, I'll go do a selfie, and I'm like, oh snap, my bonnet's still on.
Uh-huh.
Um, but then again, I can say this: where I live at, I've seen people that don't look like me who wear pajamas inside of Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
They wear pajamas, period, in the stores. Um, so you know, so yeah. So I can't. I'm not gonna push everything that we do and say, well, they think. And honestly, there are people who do look at us and think, as Black people, and think, oh, here we go, another white blank doing this and that. But then, I live around nothing but Caucasian people.
Mm-hmm.
And either they like me or they don't. It don't have nothing to do with the bonnet on my head. Either they love me for who I am or they don't. It don't have nothing to do with the what I got on. I mean, at my largest, I want to say outside weight before I, was in bed, um, no one ever like there are people who love me enough to say, "Hey, you need to fix this," but there are people who didn't care what I did. I think that
Mm-hmm.
I think that sometimes we bring that on ourselves. We bring those stereotypes on ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
I mean,
Maybe.
you know
I
that
don't know.
they're gonna be people who don't look like us, who don't like us just because we don't look like them. There that's gonna always be, you know. So I don't think that a bonnet on your head is enough to have your card taken away. For those who have a card, I get mine taken away all the time for other issues.
Bye. I love you. Call me if you need me. Um.
But as
No,
far as
I
he
mean,
goes, go ahead.
I don't think it's. I don't think it's like I said enough to get your card taken away per se, but I just don't like. For instance, don't come to church with your bonnet on.
No, I can't do
Don't don't go to your child's school program with your bonnet on.
not to the
You know,
program.
if you want to run to the post office, I wouldn't do it. But if you want to run to the post office with your bonnet on, okay. Or if you want to run to, I'm not even gonna say Walmart because I don't think that's acceptable. But for sure, do not come to church with your bonnet
Why
on. And I've seen it
would you
more
though?
than I've seen it numerous times. And don't come to your kids' school program
I won't
with your
come.
bonnet on.
Wouldn't. Let me say this: I would
With
not
your
come to
bonnet
my.
on, smelling like with your bonnet. You know what bonnets smell like. Unless you wash it often, you know what bonnets smell like. And then you come bringing that stench in there, like everybody wants to smell it.
Hold on for a
At
second.
least if you're gonna wear it all the time, at least keep it clean.
Hey, are you trying to get back on? Yes. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Okay. Go to my Facebook page, and I should be on live there. All right, bye.
I hope I don't run out of
Oh
gas.
my goodness, on the
I'm
highway.
no, I'm not on the highway. I'm in town, but still, I hope I don't run out of gas because I will be pushing it and pushing it. I just don't feel like getting out to get
I
gas right
can't
now.
do it. I can't do it. Um, no, I wouldn't go to church like that. But and as far as my kid's school program, now, I wouldn't do that. But if my kid got in trouble, I had a shirt when my kids were little. When my first set of kids were younger. I had this shirt, and this shirt had like rips in it.
Mm.
Everybody in the house but me hated this shirt. And it was tie-dyed, and it was purple and pink and blue and all these wonderful colors with all these rips in it and holes in it. And that's just how it was made. Okay. It said, I invited you. I invited you first. Hold on. So I would wear it to school when they got in trouble. They did not want me out of that car.
I remember my mom came to the school one time to pick me up because I was sick. And, back then, women wore their, you got the roller sets. And my mom had her rollers in, them big pink plastic ones, yellow and green and all different colors. But she had and then she had her scarf over it. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, why would you come out here? She said, because I need my, she was going somewhere later that night. And so she had rolled her, washed and rolled her hair and all that. I was so embarrassed. She came in there with them big curlers in her, them big rollers in her hair.
Yeah, I think that sometimes, now I'm like I said, I would do things to my kids just to torment them, but know, they yeah. But as far as him letting them take his hair down, you have kids. I've seen young people their ages who are making money braiding hair. And I did say this when I saw that he got fired. I said, I pray that at least one of them young women become a professional hairdresser.
Yeah.
And they give him his props.
His props for what? I mean, it don't take no
Because, I
professional
mean,
to unbraid hair.
this poor man had lost his job uh, for doing hair. Hey, Tila,
Yeah.
how did you request an invite?
Girl, I don't know. I honestly did it.
This is this is why we need young people around. They can do hair and run computers and telephone.
Well, what I did was I went to your page, and on your profile picture, it has this lit up circle, and it says live. So I clicked on that live, and then she sent the invite. I don't know how she did that, but it got me to the live to get in to send the invite. If you go
Oh,
to your
there we
profile
go.
page
I see
and
it. There we go. There we go. I see there we go. Okay, so now I have to let it do what it do. Yeah, because I accepted. So
Hello.
hi.
Oh my God, that was painful.
Hey, I couldn't even use my phone, so I'm using Titus's phone.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
We just got back from the road, so a little bit tired, but we got this. We good.
Good. Good. So,
Tila, how you doing, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you?
You looking at it?
so we were just talking about the teacher that got fired for letting him take his hair down.
Yeah,
Yeah, he got fired.
yeah,
Um,
I knew.
yeah, and,
I
and
saw that.
I think it's a little harsh. I think that's kind of harsh, in my opinion. What do you think?
I think as a black man, you should never put yourself in that situation because they're like, give me a reason.
That's exactly what I said at the beginning. That's exactly
Mm-mm.
what I said. I said I don't necessarily know if I agree with him getting fired, but him getting fired, he opened that up. He opened that up himself.
Yeah, he
He did
really
it
did.
to himself.
He, he did.
I mean, it's his consequences for his
On
actions.
it,
I don't think he
so it
should have
could be
got those
shown that he
consequences.
wasn't doing anything wrong. So he knew he shouldn't have been doing it to begin with.
No, actually, if you go, because I went on his TikTok page, he has a lot of interaction with the children, with the kids, boys, especially with the boys. Like they're out there kicking a ball around, you know. Um, I understand why they believe he needed to be fired. I don't believe he needed to be fired. I just believe he needed to have a consequence, and you know. But like it, and we were talking a few minutes ago. Most parents that I have noticed, they're giving their permission. Now, I don't know if
Right,
any of those parents did, but they're giving the permission for their kids to be on TikToks and YouTubes
right.
because like I said, I watch a woman almost every other day, and she's a teacher, and she's a black woman, um, teaches middle school, and her students are always on there with her. But she says while she's on there, she has parental permission. She has said that.
But I would also stress too that the one-offs are not universal.
Mhm.
You know, in other words, just because it works for one doesn't mean it's going to work for every black person.
No.
You know,
Right, right.
and also too, I think when it comes to black people in a professional environment, especially that's predominantly
Mhm.
white, you're going to have to err on the side of caution. You know, expect the worst and but yet give them an opportunity to earn some trust. And I say some trust, but because I'm sorry, the days of just taking their word for it are over, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we as Black people, especially in professional settings, already know that working under that umbrella comes with a lot of things, a lot of microaggressions, a lot of, people trying to impose their will upon you, placating at the job. But the thing you'd never want to do is give them the ammunition to hang you with, you
I mean,
know?
I agree with that.
look at R. Kelly. He had permission from these people's parents to do whatever the mess was he was
Why you
doing,
gotta put
and then
this?
later it still came back and bit him in the butt.
Why you gotta
And you just
put this?
reminded me of Diddy, because today, y'all saw that video, right?
Of him
Yeah.
beating that?
So
Of him beating her?
Yeah, beating that girl's ass in the
What
bathrobe, sitting there looking
I don't
like Big
understand
Red on
is
the Five Heartbeats. He was tripping,
what I don't understand is don't these celebrities realize that all these hotels that they are in have cameras everywhere?
right?
And I'm like, I'm watching this in
apparently they think
2016.
they're invincible or something because they sure do some stupid stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like an inherent God complex or something
Yeah.
like that.
yeah,
Oh, this would
Yeah.
never happen to me.
because
And
I was
and example has been set time and time
thank
again. We don't care how
you,
rich you are, how famous you are. We will put you behind these bars, and
Yeah,
yet they still keep doing it.
look,
especially if everybody's already mad at you, especially if you've got some enemies in higher places somewhere. You are definitely going to jail. This video probably came out in 2016 when it happened. However, no one is talking about it till now.
well,
Mm-hmm.
look at the Barack Obama. He was the president of the United States, but he still had subordinate people under his line of command putting their finger in his face like he ain't shit. You know what I mean? You
Mm-hmm.
lie. That kind of condescending shit. So if they
Mm-hmm.
could do this to the president of the United
Right.
States,
Right.
who are we?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, nah, I don't trust him. I got trust issues. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to
Um,
show me like I'm from Missouri.
yeah, well, I don't take anything for face value anymore.
You can't.
Mm-mm.
Just like you out in the streets in the hood, you can't get caught lacking out in these streets.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and I don't take anything for face value, and I don't because I've seen too much and heard too much from people who say they love me. You know what I mean? So I don't take anything face value. I look and say, okay, we're gonna see. Yeah, man, was you frozen? Because you was just looking in your nostrils. I'm like, is he frozen? No, we don't have no sound.
I had to send a quick text message,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, we
I
good.
had to turn my car off before I ran. I was sitting here, a car ran. I said, let me turn this car off before I run out of gas.
I gotta get gas tomorrow. But so yeah, so that was one thing I did want to touch on this evening was the fact that he did get fired, and I don't think he should have been fired. But you know,
Kind of
I don't
put
know the rules of
it on
the
himself.
school. Yeah, well, he did,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't know what the rules are, of the the school. Also,
I
but
don't give a damn. You don't give them the rope to lynch you with.
well, he did. He's
Right.
young.
Yeah,
He's
I mean
young.
that's what I said. That's what I said at the beginning, Dayreek, when she asked me, well, how did I? Because I had texted her
Hmm.
the next day after he got fired, because my daughter showed it to me
Hmm.
that night, and then I texted her the next morning and told her, and she was asking me in the beginning what I thought, and I said, well, he brought it on himself. He has nobody to blame but
Yep.
himself.
And
Yep. And I'll
he
tell that to
Because
anybody
had a
listening.
video. He had made a response video, and I really felt bad, but you know how I am. I cannot watch people cry. So, but I felt really bad for him. But then these are the consequences of his actions.
As long as he
yeah,
learns from it,
yeah,
it's not a mistake and it's not in vain. He could still
Yeah,
redeem and bounce back from this. He
yeah.
hasn't really lost his license or anything like that,
right,
so
right.
he'll get another job. He just has a blemish on his record.
Gonna go down in history as the man who allowed his students to unbraid his hair in class.
Mm-hmm.
Bet he won't do
Yeah, I'm the
that again.
teacher that got fired for letting the kids unbraid my hair.
Yep.
I bet he won't. He'll figure out. He'll manage his time better the
You get
next
a
time when
haircut.
he needs to go to an event and needs his hair done.
Oh yeah,
Now,
he'll find a way to, and he'll learn from this, and he'll let a naysayer know.
mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Let a naysayer know. Okay. So to get back to Diddy's situation too,
Oh, oh Diddy, my
I
man
would
Diddy,
like to know: are they sure that's even him? Are they positive it's him? I'm just saying.
bro, bro.
I mean, he might say it wasn't him. That's
I'm
not me. That's my
pretty sure they're
bodyguard.
positive it was him.
And I've said this before. Do they not understand? There's cameras everywhere. There's not hardly anywhere you
They
can go
think
without
they're
cameras.
invincible.
Yeah.
Guess he knows he's not now, huh?
Again, they'll do it to the president or to Bill Cosby or
Right.
to R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Who are you?
When they get done, when people get done with you, especially like I said before too, when he did some things to some people that's in really high places. So he might as well just be, I mean, expect to get what you own taken from you. Because like he sued a huge company. Wasn't it like a whiskey company, or it was a liquor company? And he accused them of not advertising his liquor outside of the black community or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Did he? Did he did
Yep.
that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
So he had sued
So
the
he,
company. Let me
so that in order to
see.
seek his retribution and justice, he said, "Come here, Meek Mill."
This is what he did. This is what he, I don't remember what he did this either. Let me see.
That just flew right over.
I'm so sorry. It did.
It did. It flew right over her head.
It did. Well, you know how my mind is when I get one thing I'm doing. You of all people should know.
You're still doing it.
Just give me a second. I'm looking up something.
Yeah, but you're on a live chat.
I know. I'm looking it up so I can see that, that who he sued. He sued the Diego company or something. Oh,
I don't know, but maybe his product would sell better in the black community than just like anything else. They're not going to sell black hair supplies in on Rodeo Drive as much as they would in Inglewood. I mean, certain things sell better in certain areas. So maybe
Yeah.
his maybe his drink would have sold better in a black community than, prime example, this friend of mine, he was a chef at Bravo at Zona Rosa.
really?
So, I mean, uh he was wanting to do. Now he's from the inner city. So, he's used to places like Pete's Place and, stuff like that. Well, he wanted to have at Bravo a ladies' night, like a ladies' night where, where the fellas can bring their ladies and give them a rose and this and that. You don't do that in the Northland at Zona Rosa. It's not a sellable thing. There's not that many.
I'm sorry. Who's Zona Rosa and who's Pete?
Well, Zona Rosa is, where do you live?
Not
Not
Missouri.
Missouri. Okay. Well, Zona Rosa is a shopping area in the Northland.
In Kansas City?
And then Pete's Place is a like a hole in the wall little bar that sells wings and fries.
So this is Kansas
Yeah,
City area. Okay,
Kansas City area.
got you. All right,
One's north
all right.
of the river, one's south of the river.
Okay.
And so I mean, you're not and so he was mad because the manager kept shooting down his idea. He was like, no, 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 no. And he was like, I think they just being racist. And I was like, it's not that they're being racist. You don't have the clientele, the ladies night clientele that comes to Zona Rosa that eats at Bravo. Bravo is a family restaurant. You're not going to be doing a ladies' night there. It's just, yeah, it sells. But you know how much they make? Yeah, it sells at Pete's Place because look at the environment you're at. Look where uh, Bravo is at. Yeah, it's two
Yeah.
entirely different things.
And you're
So, I
saying
mean,
liquor
maybe,
sells better in the hood.
right. So like I said, maybe his liquor sold better there than what it would have in a different community in the suburbs.
Okay. And if that's the case, they've been locking our butts up for 40 years for weed, but they won't give us front of the road to own the businesses and the dispensaries and the distributions and things like that. I mean, they made a pretty solid living off of locking our black behinds up over weed, you
Yeah, they
know.
did. Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the opportunity to turn your, stuff into progress or contribute to this capitalistic system, not so much, you know. And they wonder why I got trust issues. Hope, I think you're muted.
I was. No, the lane. Um, I, we got trust issues. You got trust issues because you're not crazy.
Yeah, that's
So,
that too.
let's just turn that off. Let's just be frank. My daughter broke my round light, so now I've got to improvise. Let's be frank. You're not crazy. Um, I think that this is why he's in a lot of trouble right now. That they're just the protection that you had over yourself when it came to these people who were in power is now gone because you ticked them off.
Yeah, but everything that's done in the dark eventually comes to light. So when Diddy was diddling, he had to know that he was going to get diddled back.
I, you know,
That's true. That
yeah,
is true.
yeah.
You then that's why I was like suggesting to somebody before, why not? What if he knew this stuff was coming in the pipeline? Why didn't he do more philanthropic work? Why didn't he contribute more to the community? Why didn't he do all these things that could undo these horrible things that you knew were inevitably going to come to light because you done saw enough celebrities hang, you you know? But instead, no, you're the exception. You're the one off. Come on, bro.
Do you think he looked at it like some young people do? Like, I'm never going to get caught. You
Yeah,
know how they
Mhm.
say,
like,
there's nothing ever going to happen
Definitely.
to me.
but
Definitely.
I also suggest too, that's the path of the East Coast. That's the New York, New Jersey mentality. You rise meteorically, but at the same time you plummet like a meteor hitting the earth, you know? Look at Rudy Giuliani. Look at Donald Trump. Look at John Gotti or any New York legend. Yes, you
Mm-hmm.
rise up. You rise up to the stratosphere, but you're also going to fall because
Mm-hmm.
you don't have the bandwidth to focus on the macro perspective because you're too busy relegating and flashing your success.
This is possible. This is a possible. I'm going
And I'm
to say you're right.
and
I'm
I'm
not going to
sorry.
argue.
I'm
I
sorry to
agree.
Popsicle. I'm sorry to Popsicle and whoever, the likes, but you got to be mindful of what you showing outwardly to the public.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
see. I agree with that to an extent, like I always have. But I mean, no, honestly, what people see does matter. Perception does matter. We can,
It does.
you know, and I mean, weren't we raised like that?
I'd say we
Yeah.
were indoctrinated like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we were indoctrinated that way because I was.
Mm-hmm.
But
There are things that I do now that I would have never done before, and there are things that I wear now outside of my house that I would never
but
wear before.
that's because you're an intelligent human being, Hope,
A
and you're
bonnet.
capable of
A bonnet
evolving.
for one.
Wait, what did you say?
I
I
said
said
that's
a
because
bonnet for one.
If I forget it's on my head, I forget it's on my head. Okay, I wear it all the time. I mean, when I get up and it's still on half the day, if not more. I have to wear my bonnet though. I have to. I have
Not in
to.
public. You don't have to.
I don't. I mean, I don't do it like have I ever done deliberately? May have. I don't do it very often if I do. Hey, it's on my head. You know, it's a lot of hair there. Leave me alone.
Okay.
What's your thought on that, Dave Reek, about women wearing bonnets in public?
They're showing me who they are, and I believe them.
What are they showing you,
That
Derek?
they bunch of filthy McNasties.
Ah,
Look,
well, first of all, my bonnet is clean.
look,
Okay,
that's
my
exactly
bonnet
what
is
I said.
clean.
You know that you. I was telling Hope. I said I don't believe in wearing bonnets out in public. You definitely don't wear it to church. I don't know. I can't tell you how many
I
times
wouldn't
I've
do
seen people
that.
wear bonnets to church. You don't wear it to your kid's school program because you know what the bonnet smells like, and then you're gonna bring that funky stench up in there with you. And
Do you
who
wear it
who
My
to a
has
bonnet
to
smells
water
see
good.
it
park?
or smell it? Huh,
Do you wear it to a water park?
no. You don't even wear it to the water park. You don't wear it anywhere. You know what I wear to the water park? If my hair is not pulled up, if it's down, I have my hair in a head wrap. I have it in a wrap. A head wrap is acceptable. I don't. You don't wear your bonnet to the what? You just don't. A bonnet is made for home. A
But
bonnet is made for in-home use.
but at the same time, it's not good to get your hair wet.
Right. So you get a swimming cap. A
That's
bonnet
what I
is not going
mean.
to keep your hair from getting wet. It's just material. It's still going to get wet.
Well, they got like shower bonnets and things like that, you know.
Yeah, but it's not. It's still going to get your hair wet because shower bonnets, they don't have a good suction on it that is going to keep water from getting in. The water is going to go right up underneath the hat. I
Uh,
wear one in the shower and my hair still gets wet around all around through here.
hmm. This is why I just shaved my head.
That's not happening here, but
Oh, I could be in a puss.
took me too
Yeah,
long.
so see, like me and Dave Reeker, you see me with thumbs up. We're on the same page on that one.
It's a bonnet. As long as it doesn't smell. Now, mine doesn't smell because I wash mine every other day because I
Okay,
have
but
a different.
a lot of people are not washing theirs all the time,
Well,
and they do stink.
I kind of placed the bonnet right up there with the I'm tired mom bun.
I think that's what you're.
No, my hair's
What?
not. Mine is
No,
like
that's not
slicked
a I'm
back
tired
and
mom bun.
yeah, this
What's
isn't.
what I'm
Mine is
tired of done.
braided and twirled around. Yeah, I get what you're saying about but for those are like fashionable though. Those are considered fashionable.
The I'm tired mom bun.
They're called messy mom buns. Yeah, I mean, on TikTok and Facebook, there's all different reels on there that show you how to make a messy mom bun.
Well,
So
just
they're
to get all
actually
this, just for a second, let me pivot, to get all this misandry out of this conversation. I also hate guys who wear sports jerseys with other dudes' names and you're over the age of 30.
I just
Why
never have I
would
haven't
you
paid attention to that.
why would you be free advertisement for another dude?
Well, a lot of people wear. I mean, especially I'm saying here in Kansas City, you see during football season, you
I
guaranteed
belong
to
to
see.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, you
Or
during
maybe,
football season,
or
you
maybe it's
guaranteed
Patrick
to see
Mahomes
people
belongs to
in a
me.
Chiefs jersey every weekend.
Brought to
Men
you
of
by
all
Travis
ages.
Kelsey.
Men of all ages. I mean, I'm talking clear up geriatric ages. Men
Oh,
in
I
the
know.
nursing homes. They
And
got,
I got a problem with that
Why? Why do you have a problem with it?
because you're a grown ass man, especially if you're over the age of 30. Be your own individual. Market yourself. Sell your own brand. You ain't got to pump somebody else's product. You pimp. You. No, you ain't the pimp. You the bottom bitch. I
Did
said what
you
I
say
said.
that on Facebook? I don't know.
I don't know. It just happened.
Sorry, you can't.
I got a problem with that too.
with what?
So Yes, bonnets in public, messy mom buns, and dudes over the age of 30 that wear other dudes' names on their body.
Okay. Is there anything else you got a problem with that we should know?
I got a problem with a lot, but I think we can just limit it to that right now.
People that interrupt him, he has a problem with that.
People that mansplain me, I have a big problem with that. Oh yeah, don't get big-eyed on me now.
That do what? People that do what?
Mansplain me,
Mansplain. You know what
especially
Mansplay.
mansplaining is?
yeah,
Mansplain.
especially emotionally mansplaining.
Mansplaining? Like
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
explaining, but mansplain. What is that?
it's where it's contradictory to the person's intelligence. You're not taking into account what could they possibly know or don't know. So you over explain everything, especially if it's in an emotional context. And I was like, no, but you have to understand that this and this and this and all this other stuff when you could have just said he was sad.
Mm,
I don't know why
okay.
people do that. People who do that, they have issues.
Hope, shut the entire fuck up.
Listen, I don't do this on purpose. It's just, I think it's because we talked about this before because I have kids and you're always having to explain everything to your kids. Because my daughter is an RN and I was telling her something one day and I just started trying. I was like, I had to stop myself in the middle of the sentence because I was explaining
Sheila,
to her.
she's doing it now.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to point out the irony of that.
I'm so sorry. It happens all the
I
time.
know. I know. That's okay. That's fine.
Hmm.
It's
Express
it's one of
yourself.
my many faults that he has accepted and still treats me like a sister.
But I'm gonna call you on your bullshit.
Always. I don't do nothing. I don't win the argument. We'll be like talking back and forth, and I'm like, if I've said something though that resonates, he will let me have it. But then he tells me don't be all day long too. So yeah.
you you have a tendency to over celebrate in the end zone until you get the flag thrown.
Because you win every argument.
How old are we?
I don't care how old we are. I need to win sometimes. There are times a person wants to win,
Well,
okay?
if you want to win, do better. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm surprised he didn't say, well, if you want to win, get dumber friends. I don't know what to tell you.
That's an option. That is an option.
So today's
Like,
subject,
no,
huh? Go ahead.
go ahead.
No,
Run
go
your
ahead.
show. You good.
Um, today's show was we were talking about the differences between men and women, and is a person who is transitioning really able to get the full of what it's like to be the person they're transitioning to.
Oh, you're talking about transgender, because I was going to share a completely different but overly masculine thought process that I've been working through the
Go
past couple of
ahead.
days.
Go ahead.
You sure?
Somebody is feeling themselves today. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Anyway, so I have kind of like wanted to explore vulnerability, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because it's kind of one of those stigmatized things among men. So I finished reading Bell Hook's book, The Will to Change, and it covers men, masculinity, the patriarchy, how men are perceived, and the expectations of man to not express their emotional turmoil or any positive emotions or anything other than rage. So yeah, but at the same time, there's been circumstances over the last few days, where I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable and I feel completely comfortable in it. But at the same time, it's like my heart does this but thing because, like, you you're putting yourself out there. You're making a leap of faith, and you hope that it gets reciprocated. And if it does, that shit kind of hurts. But at the same time, as a man, it's kind of what I'm used to, you because let's be honest, people don't give a damn what a man feels for the most part. You know, I mean, they say they do, and it sounds nice. It's like when a guy's courting you and he says, "I love you." It sounds really nice, you know, but the proof is in the actions. It's not what
Mm-hmm.
you say; it's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But I do
Actions speak
see,
louder than words.
absolutely, but I do see how men are corrupted by this patriarchal mind thought process, you know, where we can't emote, let's call it emoting, on a level of comfortability without public judgment or social or gender norms coming back at us. So, you know, we just STFU, you know? So it's been interesting. And, you know, I'm a work in progress, but I've been doing a lot of writing about it too.
Hmm.
That book's
That,
coming
I mean,
out.
that's good to share with people because a lot of men won't share their softer side,
No,
and
can't trust it.
and yeah.
It's hard to trust.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, and it's funny because I hate to say this, but it's almost a universal thing that they don't trust and they don't become vulnerable, but so is the reasoning behind it.
Explain.
I can mansplain. Um,
You usually
has to do with us.
do.
Has to do with us as women. I've asked men several different men the same question. You know, why don't you open up? Why don't you be, you know? And the same answer is, it's women. No one wants it thrown back in their face 3 days from now or 2 weeks from now when you're angry. Oh, you was a punk crying. Oh, remember when you said this? That's why you a punk now because da 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 da. No one wants to throw back in their face. We want men to be vulnerable. Then you have to give a man to be a safe place to be vulnerable in.
Hmm.
We can't take what they're telling us and throw it back at them because we're mad at them.
I need to charge my phone, so that's what this is doing. That's what's
Okay.
happening.
And that's why they're not.
No,
I've
you're absolutely right.
and it's amazing that I've talked to men who've never met from different corners of the United States, and they all say the same thing.
Hmm.
We're the reason that they're not.
But I don't want to just scapegoat and just put it completely on women, you know, because I believe in self accountability first, unlike others I know.
I'm accountable for stuff. I take accountability. Stop saying that all the time. Oh wait,
R-
a
Right.
hit, a hit dog will holler, huh?
Yeah. It really will.
Well,
But
burr,
no.
that's what I feel.
I mean, but I kind of think that touching on what you said, Hope, about men don't open up because women will come back later and say, well, that's why you were crying and all this. I kind of feel like men aren't going to be open up and share personal things and share their softer side and be their vulnerable side with a woman unless
He can trust
they
her.
really right, unless he really trusts her and they really care, they care for each other. So at that point, whether or not if she's the type of woman that's going to throw something back in your face.
Yeah.
And that's why they're not, because they don't know.
Mhm.
Every man that I've ever talked
Well,
to,
maybe they're doing it too soon. Because
they're
if
not
you
doing
I
it at
mean,
all, though. They're not doing it at
well,
all.
then maybe they're not finding the right women. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
if you're not able to do it at all because you've never found a woman that you can trust, open up to, and share your intimate emotions, then apparently you're not finding the right woman.
But how can you do that if you never knew it off top? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you've
that's true.
never experienced these things. And I've talked to different men about this, about how your concept of love evolves over time, you know? Because when you
Uh-huh.
start off as a young adult, you're a little bit self-oriented, you know? It's all about you and your homies or you and your friends or something like that. And then it
Uh-huh.
expands outward into like the nucleus of a family or a career or a household or a community or something like that. And then you become this, you take this existential trip you know, and then that's when you convert to Islam or, you know, discover God or take this courageous leap of faith and suddenly change your aspirations and do something out of the norm. But all the while, your interactions with other people help to define your concept of love. And if you were just with one person for, say, I don't know, 30, 40 years, your concept of love is very narrow and encased, you
Mm-hmm.
know, whether you
Mm-hmm.
mean for it to be or not, whether it was lasting, you know, because women aspire to love like men aspire to respect,
Yes.
you
Mm-hmm.
know. So yeah, I get that it's at the top of a, you know, a relationship list for all human interaction because humans need that connection. But what concerns me is how much of this is indoctrinated in like a patriarchal sense. You know, like how much of this is force fed through gender norms or white supremacy or things of that nature. You know, boys don't cry. You know, that's a
Mm-hmm.
girl's game. Don't do that. You know, don't play with that doll. You know, those kinds of things. We get force fed not just through our social interactions, but through our media, through our leadership figures, through our sports entertainers, everything in our life, even the die gloriously on the battlefield type of movies, you know, are teaching us gradually the stuff on our smartphones, you know, are teaching us to contribute to this construct that is not us, that has nothing to do with our identity, has nothing to do with our emotional intelligence, but yet it affects our relationships, it affects our families, it affects our communities. How do
Mm-hmm.
we let this shit go?
Yeah.
Because it's a plague.
I know, like he said, men are told, men don't cry. I remember the first time my husband cried, and he was like trying to hurry up and stop himself because he was like, I don't want you thinking I'm a sissy. I'm a man. Men don't cry. And I was like, men definitely do cry. Men have feelings and emotions just like women do. So if you feel that you need to cry, cry.
Yeah,
And it's me and you here, and if you feel you need to open up about how, like I said, the situation with his kids, if you feel you need to cry about it, cry. That doesn't make you any less of a man. But
probably
he
still
was,
not going to do it
it
though.
was instilled in him from a very young age from his father that men don't cry. If you cry, you're a sissy. Men don't cry. And he didn't even cry at his dad's funeral because men don't cry. And he was 13 years old.
Fun fact though, Tila, I haven't cried since 2006.
Working
Really?
on it. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. He needs hugs. And if you got the right hug, just, it's
Hug
okay.
this.
No, see, listen, I'm trying to help you get in touch with your emotions.
I
He's not a
can't.
hugger. So, yeah.
No.
Um, I think that we have to change about how we look at each other. And we need to make sure that whoever we're with or we're talking to, that we understand how they want the relationship to be played out. Like, do they do gender roles or don't they? But I think that we first as women have to start by not looking at our men when they do cry and criticizing them for that. And that's going to start when you have boys, when
Mm-hmm.
boys are small. I think Titus was the only one of my kids that I ever let cry when he got shots. And I couldn't hold him and watch him cry. So I think that, as a mom, that I had to look back at that because as a mom, I was like, I remember Mike used to cry when he got shots when he was and I'm talking about little babies, like 1 year old, 2 years old. I didn't let him sit there and cry like that when he got those shots. Mm-mm.
Hmm.
He was the
So
only kid that I couldn't hold.
you tried to comfort and soothe him or
No,
what?
I didn't do that.
What'd you do?
Told him
What'd
to
you
shut
do?
up. Told him to shut up. Stop all that noise. It don't hurt that bad. However, when it comes to Titus, I couldn't hold him and watch him cry because then I would start crying. and I would let him
So
try it
because it
out.
brought a vulnerability out of you, you had to wean it out of your
Well,
son.
Michael's older than Titus, so by the time I got to Titus, it was okay for him to cry. But with the other boys, it wasn't. Sit there crying for it. So we have to change how we look at our sons when they're little.
Good
Now, is
job.
Titus the favorite? Is that the one that's the
Titus is
favorite?
not my
He
favorite.
is totally the favorite. He is absolutely the
Yeah,
favorite.
I
Oh, but
think you just
okay.
I think you just proved that,
It
Hope.
it will make you feel better when Michael was the favorite of the first set. If you ask any of the kids, he was the favorite of the first set, and Titus is the favorite of the second set. So my favorite over here wasn't allowed to cry. But as I got older, something in me is like he's crying, he's a baby, just comforting him. But I couldn't hold him and get his shots because I couldn't. So I think that when we raise boys and we talk to boys as a mom, first thing we do tell them is stop crying. Stop all that noise. You a boy. Toughen up. And I was reading something and it said that even moms speak louder to their male infants than they do their female infants. Go ahead.
I was the timeout mom. I didn't ever whip my kids. So if my son was crying,
Oh, they got a whooping.
I no, they would have never got it.
No,
If my son was
hers
crying,
got a whooping.
I would, I mean, up until he was even like 5, 6, I would have picked him up and been like, "What's wrong? Why are you crying?" And even older, like if he was crying 7, 8, 9, where I wasn't able to pick him up and hold him, I didn't tell him stop all that noise, shut up, stop crying. I don't even tell. I've never. One time I told my kids to shut up, and they're the two older ones. I mean, 'cause I forgot what was going on, and they were just going back and forth, and I was like, "Shut up!" And that's the only time I've ever told them to shut up. I've never even said shut up to my kids.
And what do you think that
I'll
kind
tell
of
them to be quiet, but I've never told them to shut up. I've
what?
never spanked them, and I've never told them to shut up.
Okay, so you're saying you never told them to shut up.
Right.
Okay, cool. What do you think that long-term attachment has done for them in their adult years?
Um, it hasn't been any bad effect on them. No, they're both successful adults. There hasn't been like a negative effect on them.
Are they
Uh-uh.
comfortable in their identity?
Yeah.
They have no problem expressing how they feel, even in controversial situations?
No.
I'd say you did a pretty good job
Mm.
then.
I mean, I hate to toot my own horn, but I really
You,
did. Yeah, I really did. I
you
don't
just
have
did.
any complaints out of my kids. My older ones or the 13-year-old. I you know I mean I don't. They are really good kids. They turned out really good, and yeah, they're good kids.
So you feel like you kind of allow them to make their mistakes?
Mm, they didn't get into they didn't. I mean, everybody makes mistakes because nobody's perfect, but
Hmm.
they weren't making huge mistakes, even as teenagers. They didn't make, they didn't do, they did, I kept a tight leash on them. There wasn't a lot of running around, even though we were just living in little bitty Plattsburgh, there wasn't a lot of running around. It was a lot of at home time, and it, um, I don't know, they didn't even, like I said, even as kids, they didn't get into a lot of trouble.
Hmm.
My daughter never got in trouble. Never.
Hmm.
She never even did anything to get grounded until she was a junior in high school. And I remember asking my mom, I said, what am I gonna ground her from? Tell her she can't read for a week? Because that's all she would do was, read, sit at home and read and do, she's had the same 4 friends since preschool. She went through through elementary school, through high school, through college, same 4 friends. And to this day, they're still all 4 very good friends in each other's weddings and all that. My kids weren't out there My son has basically the same group of friends, not the same friends he had in school because he moved away from Plattsburgh, and a lot of his schoolmates all pretty much stayed in Plattsburgh, and he moved away. But he still has a lot of the same. He still has friends that he grew up in Plattsburgh that have moved out of Plattsburgh into Kansas City too. But yeah, my kids they didn't give me any problems. They didn't make major mistakes.
What do you consider
So
a major mistake?
I mean, like getting in trouble with the law. Um, but yeah, getting in trouble with the law. In a little country town, there's a lot you could do to get in trouble with the law, and they didn't.
Do they drink?
My son does.
No.
Like
Did
he
they drink when they were
drinks.
teenagers?
Oh, when they were my daughter, no. My son probably did, and I didn't know it. I'm not gonna sit here and say he didn't. He probably did, and I didn't know it. Like he smoked. I don't know what age. I think he started smoking cigarettes at like 17. But even to this day, he will not smoke a cigarette in front of me. To this day, he does not smoke a cigarette in front of me. And how I found out he was smoking then, we had went on a family vacation, and I had did laundry before we left the hotel to come home, and I was putting his clothes in his suitcase, and I came across his cigarettes.
You could
But
have.
he had them hidden. And at that time, he was 17, he was a senior in high school, so he was 17 or maybe 18. And he's 29 now, and he still does not, he has not smoked a cigarette in front of me. One time, I will say, I went to his house, and he was outside on his patio smoking a cigarette, and I walked outside, and when he heard me walk outside and he turned around, he hurried up and put the cigarette behind his back. So he's not smoked his, and I mean, I know he smokes weed, but he's never done that in front of me. He doesn't talk about it. He doesn't come around me high. I mean, I just know because I'm his mom, so I meddle and I know things. But yeah, he's never done
Just
any of that in front of
never.
me.
So when you said they haven't been, you just looking at as far as being in, trouble with the law, right? At a young age.
No, I'm not just trouble with the law. I'm just saying I don't. They weren't troublemakers at school. They didn't get into trouble at school. They um my son got in one fight throughout all his years of school, and that wasn't until his sophomore year, and that's because a boy called him out of his name, a racial slur. So he knocked this kid out, which, I mean, I told the principal, I feel it's acceptable. So, um, and the principal was like, well, we just can't be having kids hitting kids, and we just can't be having kids calling black kids racial names either. So if they do that, this is what happens. They get knocked out. If the person hitting them is strong enough, they get knocked out like he did. So I feel it's acceptable. Now, we're willing to take his punishment, but this boy needs to get his punishment too. So, I mean, that's the only time he got in trouble at school. And yeah, they weren't and they aren't bad kids.
Okay. Want to add something, Derek? Man, I can't hear nothing you saying. Listen here. He's
Yeah,
being silly. He's being silly.
we
Oh my goodness. I, he's doing that on
oh,
purpose. I'm not crazy.
is he? Oh,
I think
okay. I
that.
was like, I keep going like this to the phone, closer and closer.
No, I can't hear nothing. Up here. No, you're killing me, Smalls. There's some static. Say something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
But no, I'm not touching that. No,
you what?
I'm not touching that. She was too passionate. Nope. Nope. Mm-mm. Nope.
This is what I tell. I had someone call me today, and they were having some issues. And this is what I tell my kids: all kids are gonna go through things. I had the mentality I do today, I would have handled these things differently. But when they were young, they got in trouble, and they did get whooped. But kids gonna do things. They're just going to. What I wanted to do, I just wasn't able to do because I was scared of my mama. But I don't say that they were bad kids. Now my kids, we had a couple of run-ins, I think, with the police on different areas when they were younger, but nothing really huge.
I will say this. I would say that the mama don't take no mess diatribe that goes on in the black community is just as much a problem for white supremacist patriarchy as everything else. Because that's not the mama being her authentic self. That's her performing a character of how she don't take no mess, And that does damage to little boys too,
Uh-huh.
And it reminds me, after reading Bell Hook's book, she referenced Antoine Fisher, that movie with Denzel Washington, the part where he wrote that poem, Who Will Cry for the Little Boy? That poem is profound to me because those are the types of things that men would love, that safe space to let those things out in order to get that reassurance and that comfort of knowing that, even though you feel this turmoil internally, it's going to be okay. But there is no space to do that. Not at home, not at work, not even in church. Church just teaches you how to ignore it, how to endure it.
And I
Wasn't that a true story? The Antoine Fisher story?
Yes.
It was. I thought so.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn that to be that safe space, you got to sometimes just be quiet. Okay, I'm learning. Leave me alone. I'm working on it.
I was going to ask, how's that going for you?
Well, actually, it works pretty good because I'm able to connect with, especially my boys, my older boys, on a different level. There are certain things, like I will just not say which one, but one of them called me the other day and was really upset, and then he called me again today. And there are certain things I won't touch, certain subjects. I'm like, no, we're not doing that today. We're not talking about that today. Because I think because I want him to be able to go to someone else as well as me, because I'm not going to always be here. Like today, he called and his sister was on the phone with me, and he wouldn't talk at first in front of his sister. And
don't blame him.
And I said, look, you got to make sure that you know that you can talk to her too, and she's not going to say anything that's going to degrade you, make you feel bad, doubt. But if you don't open up your mouth.
Has she in the past?
No, no. No. But I think he's just leery and more scared when it comes to them. So, but he did. He opened up to her and opened up to me as well, and we talked about it. But there are some things I won't touch anymore when it comes to him.
And you get ready.
He hasn't talked to her in the past, or he has talked to her in the past, and she hasn't said anything. I mean, he's never talked to her in the past.
Yeah, he has, but
he has, but she never said anything. Okay.
Yeah, she never. Yeah, but I think he's just, being him who he is, he's just nervous.
And
I would be too.
Yeah, and I try to make him understand that you've always got me, but if you're having a problem and I'm not around, you do have siblings
Uh-huh.
that you can go to. And so we're working on that. But there are just certain things anymore I won't touch.
So, what safe spaces would you see men going to in order to gather that level of independence and emotional intelligence?
Where do I see them going?
In 2024.
I would hope they'd be able to go to their women. Okay, see, ain't nobody asked you to laugh. Because but that's gonna take changes in us. You can't
Uh-huh.
throw, because I'm gonna be real. You can ask my ex. I'll throw some stuff in your face in a minute. What are you on the ground crying for? Get up. Oh my God, here we go with this. That was my attitude. And it actually fell on my daughters. Now I have 2 daughters right now who do great with their husbands, but I also have a 19-year-old, and we were watching TV one day, and this young man started crying. I've had to readjust the way I look at things, and then teach, and by actions, showing her this is not okay. And they like to throw things back at you too. So, but if I slip, she holds me accountable. We were watching TV. This little boy was crying. She said, "What's he crying for? Like some punk, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "You can't say that about him."
You say if you slip. I say when you slip.
Well, I like the word if better, but we can say when if it'll make you feel better.
Yeah, it's all about me.
But when I do slip, she will say, "Oh, Mom, but you couldn't say that." Or, "Oh, Mom, why'd you say that for?" Or, "Oh, Mom, why'd you look like that?" Because sometimes an expression on my face tells you 1,000 things of what I'm thinking. And
And you
so,
should never ask your kids to do anything that you're not willing to do
no.
yourself.
So
Uh-huh.
I don't take it bad when it happens. I don't get mad. Okay.
If
I
it
don't.
happens,
It has happened. Mhm.
yeah, I know.
And she's correct. Nobody asked you.
I'm
She
just saying, you're more in denial than an Egyptian crocodile, okay?
I'm okay. It's happened. She corrects me. I'm able to accept that correction because I did tell her, if you want a man to confide in you, if you want a man when you get older, you want to confide in you, you got to give him somebody to confide to.
Yeah. If you want trust, you got to be trustworthy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Can't
So,
call
My
him
son
name.
and my son and my daughter-in-law, they talk about everything. Everything. So, I mean, I'm sure just being, humans, I'm sure she talks about things to her girlfriends. He talks about things to his guy friends, but there's nothing that they can't talk to each other about.
I would hope so.
They
They're
they have
bumping
they
pelvises.
have a lot of communication in their relationship.
Yeah. If you're doing the hokey pokey pelvically, I think you need to open up completely.
Mhm.
Otherwise, what are you doing?
And
But
my daughter and her boyfriend, they do open up and talk to each other, but I wouldn't say as much as, and maybe they do, and she just doesn't tell me that they do because they're both introverts. So, you know, she they can
as am
sit
I.
at home and her be in one room and him be in a total other room all day, and they're perfectly happy that
Hmm.
way. They're not mad at each other. They're perfectly happy, and that's how the majority. If they're not at work, that's how their days are spent. At home together, they'll go out for a walk, take the dog for a walk, or they don't have kids, take their dog for a walk or something. They they don't go out to eat. They order food and they'll go together, pick it up, bring it home. But they're like king and queen of introverts. So they just naturally just, don't open up a lot about stuff. They're just more
I would argue that
quiet
introverts are more attuned with their identity than extroverts. Extroverts,
or in tune.
yes.
I
Extro
agree. Hmm.
extroverts are too busy performing. They're too busy worried about public perception. They're too busy
Hmm.
saying, what's everybody going to think about this, type things.
Hmm.
Whereas the introvert doesn't give a damn
Hmm.
because
And
Because
that's definitely her. That is definitely her. Mm-hmm.
and it's weird because you would think that the introvert would be more egocentric or narcissistic, but they're really not. It's the
Mm-hmm.
extrovert. The extrovert has to act like they're a BFD, you know, big freaking deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was like, BFD. I was waiting for you to
Yeah.
elaborate.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of that stuff stems off of people's enforcement to sell a narrative or sell a story to make themselves seem like they're the ones on this emotional epiphany. But the reality is, you're Christopher Columbus and there've been indigenous out there all along. You ain't discovered shit,
Mm-hmm.
but you're really good
Yeah.
at telling a story, spinning the yarn, saying, "Listen to me."
So I'm gonna tell a little story. So, uh, I seen this thing on Facebook.
I'm
Stop,
done.
Maverick. I seen this thing on Facebook, and it said, text your kids and tell them if the police call you, I was with you Thursday night, and see what their response is. So I sent it to my son. If the police call you, tell them I was with you Thursday night. He said, okay. I sent it to my daughter. If the police call you, tell them I was with you Thursday night. She texts back, what'd you do, Mom? And I said, just tell the police I was with you if they call you. She said, I'm not gonna do that until you tell me what you did.
And that's the difference between men and
And
women.
I'm like, dang, your brother just said okay. And you gotta know
Hmm.
all these questions.
Yep. With men, it's no questions asked. Hey,
Yeah,
we're
So,
gonna hurt
he just
somebody.
said okay.
so
We're
Jensen
gonna hurt
said,
somebody. I need you to ride with me. All right, let's go. Who's driving? But the girl, like, I don't know. If I'm gonna do this, I need to know X. I need to know Y. I need to know Z. I need to know what your mood was when you said it. How many items were in your grocery bag when you were shopping? Because that always determines your temperament too. That kind of emotional mansplaining.
Yeah, I thought that was funny, but yeah, she had all these questions, and I'm like, my God, I would be in jail fooling with you.
Now you know who's gonna ride for you.
Right.
okay, so Jensen said, speaking as an introvert, I am one that will always focus on someone else before myself.
Mm-hmm.
I focus on
Absolutely.
other people. Now, I am an extrovert at its best, but I do focus on other people. Oh, oh wow. You gonna sit there and smile like that? Okay. Okay. I'm gonna take that one. No, it's okay. You can just go ahead. It's fine. I'm good.
Okay. A bullshit. A bullshit.
I
A
do focus on
bullshit.
other people. When I'm in tune with someone, I am in tune with that person. I know their likes, their dislikes, their wants, what they feel they need. And I am one of those people that I'm, yeah, that's just me. That's why I got 9 kids.
Yeah.
Well, that and I like to watch
Now, I
cartoons.
won't deny the potency of your Care Bear stare. I won't deny that.
Thank you.
However, you are also a BFD.
I
And
am
you
too, Hope, so it's okay.
and
I know,
and you
right?
will start a charity 5K to raise awareness about how much of a BFD you are.
I won't do all that, but
She knows I ain't lying.
I believe that certain things that you have overcome should be celebrated.
You suck your own dick.
Things should be celebrated.
You totally
And
suck your own dick.
if I can't celebrate it for myself, I can't expect someone else to.
I don't think there's room for anybody else. Like,
He
seriously,
said,
you are Cuba Gooding Jr. on Jerry Maguire when you wake up in the end zone and realize you scored the touchdown. All that excessive dancing and stuff, and I love everybody. Show me the money.
not you, Hope. Really?
Yeah,
Jensen
she's
said that I'm an
she's
empath. See,
she's puffy all up in the video dancing and stuff. No talent, but
Oh, hold up now. Wait a minute now.
no,
Take it
no.
all.
Let's be real, because Biggie was the talent. Puffy was just there in the video.
I have
You know,
talent. I can do me.
but
However, I
your
think that
ego is
I
Puffy.
don't have an ego. I have a false sense of a high elevated confidence that makes it appear that I have an ego, but I really don't have. Fine. I have a bit of an ego. I'm
Thank you.
trying to get rid of it. It just keeps following me around. Fine. I will celebrate the sun coming up. But I get that from my Aunt Edna was like that. Okay?
What you?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
Mm.
If there was like one or two birthdays, and especially two or more in the same month, we had to have a dinner. We celebrate something. But I
Oh, okay.
didn't
Yeah,
celebrate
yeah.
everything.
I mean, that was just something that our parents, that age generation did. We had dinners for everything,
Mhm.
and which was nice because it kept everybody together. Now we don't do that. But I
It
thought
also
you were saying you
gave
get
everybody high
your
blood pressure.
ego from your
No,
ego took
I
you
don't
away from your
listen.
Aunt Edna. I was
I
like, I don't
have
think she was like that.
confidence in myself. That's what that is. That's confidence that you see. It's not an ego. It's confidence.
Right, 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 right. My
It's a
Naysayer.
kids
high
always come.
level of confidence. It's a high level of confidence.
You know what? I'm gonna say it with the hard R. Naysayer.
It's a high level of
Naysayer, please.
level of confidence. But I also believe that you should celebrate yourself. If you can't celebrate yourself, then you can't expect someone else to either.
Celebrate yourself, not worship.
I don't, I don't worship
True,
myself.
true.
I don't worship myself.
You verbally tongue bath yourself.
Listen, I didn't know I was until I knew I was So now that I know I am the okay, it ain't my fault. Mm-mm. It ain't my fault.
Okay.
Just have to blame, I didn't create this. The Lord did. The Lord created all this.
Now you putting it on God.
He didn't make nothing wrong, did he? What did he make that was wrong?
On God.
Nothing. Not here.
On God.
Nothing here was wrong. Nothing.
On my mama. On my hood.
I always tell people that I thank Betty Jackson for the way she raised me, but I thank my biological parents for the thing that they gave me.
And Betty was a force.
Okay, so you see where I come from.
I do. I get it. Lord, God bless you.
She refused to let us walk with our eyes down. If we talk to people, she didn't care who it was. You'd look at them in the face.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah. I get
remember
it.
when I had my first accident, I just got my permit, and this lady ran into me. She didn't go to the insurance company. She made my brother go with me to the insurance company. She said, and when you get in there, you tell her da 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 da.
But
So when I walked in there,
I can't
huh?
help but indirectly quote Kendrick Lamar, though. Sometimes it's good to sit down and be humble.
I'm humble. I'm humble. These last couple of years have made me really humble on certain things.
That I'll give you.
Yes. Last
That's
couple of
fair.
years. Huh?
I said, that's fair.
Yeah. Now I unfortunately had to go through some things to learn some things and to gain some things and to actually almost lose some things.
That was
So
very cryptic.
was it? Okay. So I had to go through these last few years of being in bed, getting up, doing all this stuff, getting a divorce, doing all these things.
Oh, yeah. God has a way of
Yeah,
saying, can you hear me now
yeah,
when the cell phone signal's not working?
yeah. It's been different.
Well, my toe situation humbled me. Y'all think I'm joking? I'm serious.
You might want to
Mm.
explain the toe situation so people that don't know about the
No,
toe can hear about the
I'm
toe.
not going to keep talking about the toe. We done been through it enough.
Well, you
I'm just
brought the toe
saying,
up. People don't know what the
I'm
toe's
just
about.
saying the toe situation humbled me.
Yeah. She had a moment where she had a toe amputated, and because the toe was amputated, she kind of conflicted with her vanity. So she kind of took that
Hmm.
out on
There
significant
you go.
others.
Long story short, there you go, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had to,
yeah.
take the emotional context out of it.
Yes.
And explain like a man. Is that
Yeah.
what you did?
Yeah. But it wasn't mansplaining.
Mm.
No, you didn't. It wasn't mansplaining, and you got all the highlights in there.
And let me
Way
say
to
this:
go.
they like short and sweet things. They don't like long stories. So yeah,
Please,
yeah. And
please. So
my
tired.
Yeah,
only
my
kid would tell
husband
me,
is prior to his brain injury. My husband was very, very bad about that. I would be talking to him, and by now we all know I'm a talker.
What?
I would be talking to him, and he
well,
would
let
just
me
get
just
up and
say,
walk
let me
away.
real
He
quick,
would just get up and walk away in the middle of the story, and I'm like, I'm talking to you. He said, "Yeah, you've been doing enough of that."
yeah, real quick. You
He would,
give me a run for my money.
he would just get up and walk away. But you know what?
You
Y'all
didn't hear
catch me
that.
when I'm tired. When I'm tired, I've been that way since I was a kid. When I'm tired, I just and 7 o'clock on a Friday, I am very sleepy. Like now, I could put this seat back and go to sleep. But I've been that way ever since I was a kid. My mom used to say, "Oh, Tila's tired. She's talking too much." And yeah, I've always been that way. And by 7 o'clock and by 8:30, oh yeah, I'm real tired. On a Friday, I'm real tired. So y'all catch me at my talkative moment. I have talked myself to sleep before.
Mm. Well, men
I'll
don't
be
like
so
all
tired, I
that
just talk,
talking.
talk.
I'm
But yeah,
learning.
my husband used to do that. He would just get up in mid conversation and just walk away and tell me, "Yeah, you've been talking too much."
They don't like
Oh,
all that
okay.
talking.
I
They
respect that.
Yeah,
I
they
really
don't like
do. I
all that
respect that.
talking because he does it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess
he was
they
just
don't.
like done and just got up.
He,
I
Yeah.
respect that.
that's what he would do. He would just could be sitting right there next to each other, and he would just get up and go off and do something different. Like he was the only person in the room. Just
Because
okay.
with ladies, there's no off switch. There's no off switch. They don't fucking do that. They don't stop.
We try, and we would stop if you would listen. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Mm.
You almost brought the gangster out of me.
Oh, come on.
Trying
I
to
will
take the
no.
high road here. Sometimes it's hard to remember the address.
Uh, I will say no. They don't like all that extra. If you tell them the points, they're good. You go overboard, and I'm a talker, so my own kid to tell me,
What?
they'll say, "Mom, can we get the short version? Because I ain't got 2 minutes, Bestie." So and I've been told about other people too. They read number one.
No problem telling you.
No, he doesn't. And I don't mind being told because I know it doesn't come out of a place of anger or hatred. It really comes out of a place of love. And and
Yeah.
and we've been talking like this for what, 2 years now? 20, 25 months. He counts
Mm,
the months. And I
it
can
hurts.
honestly say I've learned a lot from him. I've learned that, they don't want to hear your mouth.
I think it's
And I've
only
learned from
because you finally discovered a worthy adversary, someone that can hold their candle alongside of you.
I've had people that can hold a candle. I just have a couple of people that say, no, we're not listening.
Hope you
Well, you know
crip walk over
what
I
Winston
everybody.
used to do.
do not
You
over
totally crip
everybody.
walk over everybody.
Not everybody. Just
What
if you're
Winston used to do if I was talking and talking. Winston, he would sit there, and act like he was really listening, and I could tell that he wasn't paying attention, and I would throw something crazy in there, like, yeah, you see that snake just fall from the sky, and he'd still be there, mm-hmm, yeah. And I'm like, he ain't paying no attention to what I'm saying, but at least he
Mm-mm.
acted like he was at least he would act like he was paying attention. But yeah, he
Wow.
would do
That
that all
can't
the
feel
time, and I could
good.
always tell because he'd be like, mm-hmm,
That
or he'd go,
can't feel good.
mm-hmm.
Did you hear what he said?
Uh-uh.
That cannot feel good.
Yeah, I didn't pay no attention to it.
You know what? No, I gave you a look and I shouldn't have, because let me tell you something. It wasn't until I started converting with other people, especially men. I didn't pay attention to that either. And I had a guy tell me one time, he said, you know what I do? He said, every time you go on a rant, he said, I will tell you that I have a phone call. And then I'll, he said, I will hang up and come back to the phone. And then I'll call you back. He said, you're fine. You're not renting anymore. Now,
It's actually pretty good.
it I felt some kind of way after he told me that, though. I felt some kind of way. But then but as the years have progressed, this is almost a universal thing. They just don't want to hear all that noise. They don't want
But
to
we
hear you
can't tell
screaming.
you, hey, shut the fuck up, love you, because you'll take that personal.
Yeah, we will. I don't now. I don't now, but I did before. So when I gave you that look, I apologize for giving you that look, because I was the same way. I would have been ticked
Me?
off that you left the room. Yeah,
I didn't
you don't want that.
even pay notice that. I didn't even notice you gave me a look,
I
girl.
was like, what? Yeah, no, I was like you, because I would have been ticked off if you left the room. If Steve left the room and I'm talking to him, I'd have been mad.
Uh-huh.
However,
So like one time, he was talking, talking, talking. I mean, they not talking. We were arguing. So I turned the radio up in the car. We were in the car arguing. I turned the radio up. He pulled over on the side. This is my husband. He pulled over to the side. Did you just turn the radio up on me? I said, yeah, just like you get up and leave the room when I'm talking. I can't leave the car, so I turned the radio.
I mean, I get
And
it,
he thought that was the worst thing ever. Don't you ever turn the radio up on me again.
well, that's a sign of disrespect to him.
but at the
Yeah, that's what
same
he
time,
said.
don't you get up and walk out on the conversation?
That
Exactly.
that is something
Exactly.
mm.
I knew it was disrespectful because I would have been mad at somebody. I knew it was disrespectful, but it's disrespectful to get up and walk out of the room on me and tell me I'm talking too much.
Yeah. Everybody knows our women are windbags. You're just gonna have to endure it.
I want you to remember that statement you just made next time where I'm in mid conversation. I want you to remember that.
It's like, God, I can see you turning blue. Do you need oxygen?
So that you won't just say, oh, it's my turn. Oh, be quiet. Before you cut me off,
I don't have to do all that. Just one look. That's all it takes.
or just that total silence that he
Yeah.
does. I'm
Yep.
damn, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
I'll just be like,
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
If there was one thing that my mama taught us, and she said, you don't just listen to what people say,
read the room.
read their body language. Their body language tells you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes the person's silence will tell me everything I need to know.
Uh-huh.
Sick of
Like
this
it is
shit.
time for me. Huh?
Be like,
What?
sick of this shit.
Yeah, the person's silence is like, okay, what did I say? What did I do? Okay, I need to
Uh-huh.
be quiet because he's silent.
There's no off switch.
Yeah, I was one of those people that would like just, yeah. If Steve had walked out, I'd have been like, I know you didn't just leave this room and I'm talking to you. That aggravates me when my kids do it.
Yeah.
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 Uh-huh.
And then when you see your kids acting like that and you know it's your fault.
What? why can't it be his fault? Why is it my fault?
Has he been allowed to express himself much over the past
He does now. He just
decades?
don't look. He does now. He just don't say
Said
much.
decades.
It was a couple of decades. He does now. He just don't say much. But if you ask him, because he still lives here, we're roommates, and that's all we are. People who just keep asking that dumb question. If you ask him what hope he likes better, he'll tell you he likes this hope better. Because if he comes to me about anything, I'm right here to listen. If he needs something, I still do it. And if he doesn't want to talk about something, I don't bother him. We're not a couple, we're roommates. If he doesn't, yeah. But do we still? We watch boxing together. We watch a TV show together. It's yeah,
Like roommates do.
yeah, yeah.
I've seen it. I mean, I've seen, you know, I revert to Facebook and stuff because I haven't seen some of these things. I haven't seen these things in real life, but I've seen like on Facebook where couples are divorced and say that it was just financially sufficient for them to stay living together. Like
Mm-hmm.
one, like this one particular family, the husband worked during the day, the wife worked. She was a nurse that worked night shift, so they didn't have to worry about daycare because they have some kids in school, some kids home that they would have had to pay daycare for.
Yeah.
There's not two mortgages being paid or two rent payments, you know, double of everything. And they just said that it just works better. And their house was designed to where they could do that, where one
Ours
lives
is,
upstairs and one lives
yeah,
downstairs. And the
ours
kids
is.
just go back and forth amongst
Yep,
them.
they do.
And they
Cohabitation.
said it works out fine. They even date and bring dates over. And
I won't do
the
that.
only thing that they agree on is that they cannot have somebody spend the night. That's the only thing
Yeah,
that they agree on. They don't have somebody spend the night, you know, because they don't want to, you know. I mean, but if you're bringing a date over, but I don't know, they said that they just don't have anybody spend the night, you know, because of the kids. But they said it works out fine for them financially and everything. It works out well for the kids. And
I think that our situation being the way it was, first of all, financially, I really appreciated it because I said, "Can you stay till I get on my feet all the way?" He said yes. So, and then it also worked out though for Titus and for the girls
uh-huh,
because at the moment when we did break up, I was very bitter,
uh-huh,
and I had to. I was very bitter, and I had to watch how I talked. You know, Titus held me accountable about how I talked in front of the girls,
uh-huh,
but it took a stranger to show me that I wasn't always as nice as I should have been, or as I even thought I was. But we get along good now. Like, I didn't do it today, but like usually we go to Walmart. We didn't go out on Mother's Day because I wasn't going to enjoy it. However, the kids are taking him on Father's Day, and I'm going with them. So
uh-huh,
we get along as far. I mean, we disagree, but not like it's not a big deal, you know.
uh-huh,
So this was good for the kids too.
I
uh-huh,
think people just need to understand relationships and normalcy are two different things.
Hmm.
uh-huh.
Relationships are two distinct individuals forming a distinct bond. Normal is some ideological thing that the community comes up with that they think is the way things should be.
Right.
Normalcy does not exist. The relationship exists. And if you are
Uh-huh,
comparing the relationship to normalcy, you are forever fucked.
Yeah.
uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
thus every relationship and every bond is unique. So
Uh-huh.
what the hell is normal?
No system
Yeah.
normal.
That's
This
what
I
somebody, one of the commenters had said, you know, um, why would, you know, the question, I don't remember word for word, but it was like, why would you do this? You know, your children have to go out in the community and face people. And the parents commented back, the community is not raising our children or paying bills. So why do we care what the community thinks? Which
Mm,
is true. You know,
yeah.
we, like you were saying, you know, we base so much off of what everybody thinks, you
we
know,
do.
but And like they said, this is working great for our children, so this is what we continue doing.
I
Yeah.
see it. The difference between listening and hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Listening is actually giving a damn what the other person has to say. Hearing is more like waiting for your turn to talk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So at least that's my thought.
I
But
agree with you.
I am about to wrap this up
That's what
because I'm
I was going to
hungry.
say.
And me too, because I'm so
It's
sleepy.
9 o'clock almost. So let's
Mm-hmm.
just say this is Tea with Teedy, and we're going to get off of here. And we kind of had a different subject than in the beginning. What we're going to talk about. So Jensen is my friend who happens to be transgender. So hopefully next week.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I'm sorry. We should have covered that.
We sure
that's my
didn't. We drifted
well,
off
we're
to something
gonna
totally
we can
different.
do it. Are you wanting to do it next week?
Well, next week I was waiting for you to finish. I won't be on next week. I'll be on vacation.
Oh, that's right. Right, it is for you. So maybe we can all
Mm-hmm.
get together with not with you, but um maybe next week we can get together again. And Derek, are you busy?
Nope, not a problem.
Okay, good.
Sex is biological, gender sociological. There, we covered it.
Yeah, stop. So we'll talk about it next week, though. Um, so let's all sign off. Tea with TD. Guys, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for this wonderful conversation. I love you both so much. See y'all later.
Bye.
Peace. Bye.
Bye.